Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be focusing on finding the product of a binomial times a binomial and showing that mastery by scoring at least an 80% on an exit ticket in class. Hopefully you haven't lost your foldable and you have it in front of you so you can take notes on that. If you can't find your foldable, take out an extra sheet of paper because you definitely want to make sure we get these notes down. Now, to find the product of a binomial and a binomial, we're actually going to do two different methods. By the end of this video, you pick whichever method works for you. Both are acceptable. I'm not going to tell you you have to pick one over the other. They both work well, so it's up to you to decide what works best for you. The first method we're going to look at is called FOIL, and FOIL is just an acronym. F is for the first two terms, O is for the outer terms, I is for the inner, and L is for the last two terms. And if we look at our example, the first two terms in our binomials is x and x. Well, x times x gives me x squared. Our outer terms are x and negative 4. Inner is 3 and x, and our last are 3 and negative 4. Your second step, then, is to combine your like terms. Negative 4x and positive 3x give me a negative 1x. That's your answer. X squared minus 1x minus 12. It's called a quadratic formula, but that's what you want it to look like when you are done. There should be your terms, there should be nothing left to combine, and you're done. Now, if we look at our first example, I'm going to write out FOIL so I don't forget. Well, my first two terms is x times x, which gives me x squared. My outer is x times 1, which is 1x. My inner is 4 times x, which gives me 4x. And my last is 4 times 1, which gives me 4. Now, from here, I can combine my like terms. Well, that gives me 5x. I have no other terms I can combine. So my answer is x squared plus 5x plus 4. That is x plus 4 times x plus 1. That's your final answer. Now, for something like number 2, you need to be careful when it is written in this format. If it is x minus 5 squared, if we remember back to the very beginning of exponents, if it's squared, that means we need it 2 times. So I'm going to rewrite it x minus 5 and x minus 5. Well, now that I have two binomials, now I can use FOIL. So my first two terms is x times x, which is still x squared. My outside is x times negative 5, since we're subtracting. That gives me negative 5x. My inside is negative 5 times x, which is negative 5x. And my last is negative 5 times negative 5, which gives me positive 25. From here, I can combine my like terms of negative 5x and negative 5x. I get negative 10x. I have no other terms to combine, so now my final answer, x squared minus 10x plus 25. And please make sure when you write these answers, just like when we did the adding and subtracting and the multiplying by a monomial, they need to be in alphabetical order and descending order. That still has to hold true. Okay, if we look at number 3, now we have a coefficient in front of x, but that's okay. We're still going to solve it the same way. If I use FOIL, my first is now 2x times x, which just becomes 2x squared, since there's technically a coefficient of 1 there, and 2 times 1 gives me 2. My outside is 2x times 3, which is 6x. My inside is 2 times x, which equals 2x. And my last is 2 times 3, which is 6. From here, I'm still combining my like terms. I get 8x. So my final answer becomes 2x squared plus 8x plus 6. Please make sure, I know it seems like a lot to write out right now to put FOIL, show what you're multiplying, but until you get very fluid at doing these, I would write every single step out. That way you know you're multiplying the right numbers, you know you're getting the right exponent, and you know you're going to get the right answer. Now, number 4, again, squared means we have it 2 times, so I'm going to expand it to 4x plus 1 and 4x plus 1. Again, I'm going to write my FOIL down. In this case, my first two terms are 4x times 4x. Well, 4 times 4 gives me 16, and x times x is x squared. My outside is 4x times 1, which is 4x. My inside is 1 times 4x, which gives me 4x. And my last is 1 times 1, which is 1. Combine my like terms, and I get 8x. So now my final answer, 16x squared plus 8x plus 1. Now, that's how you do the FOIL method. We're going to do one more method just to show you the difference between them. Again, you choose the method that's going to work best for you. The second method we're going to look at is using a table. And those of you that learned to multiply in elementary school using lattice method, it's very similar to lattice. So, we have to put the binomials on the outside of the table, multiply. So in this case, I'm multiplying x and x here. I'm multiplying positive 3 and x here. I'm multiplying x and negative 4 here. And then I'm multiplying positive 3 and negative 4 here. So we're still getting all the terms that we need to multiply, but it just looks a little different. Once you do that, the same second step, it's now the third step, but you're combining your like terms. And then you get your answer. Make sure answers are in alphabetical and descending order. So, if we look at example number 1, it's a binomial, so I'm going to make a table. Well, I have x and I have positive 2, and I have x and I have negative 3. Please make sure that you put your sign in front of your constant. We don't want to get in the habit of not putting it there because then you may forget a negative sign. So now I'm going to multiply. X and x gives me x squared. 2 times x gives me 2x. X and negative 3 give me negative 3x. And 2 times negative 3 gives me negative 6. Now, from here, we can still combine our like terms. If we look, we're going to combine the diagonals. They both have just a solid x with an exponent of 1. So that gives me negative 3 plus 2 gives me negative 1x. Now I'm going to use everything that's not highlighted to create my answer. Again, we want it in descending order, so I'm going to start with x squared minus 1x minus 6. Now we could also write this x squared minus x minus 6. You don't have to have that 1 there, but if you like to put it there as a reminder for yourself, it's still a correct answer. If we look at the second one, again, you can still use the table when it's squared like this. That squared just means we have to write it out twice. So x plus 7 and x plus 7. I'm going to make my box, and I'm going to put x and positive 7. X and positive 7. Now we're going to go through, multiply what's on the outside of the boxes. X times x gives you x squared. 7 times x gives you 7x. X times 7 still gives you 7x. And positive 7 make positive 49. From here, we still want to combine our like terms, so I'm still going to combine my diagonal. Well, 7x and 7x give us 14 x's. Now I can create my answer since I have no other terms to combine. I'm going to be left with x squared plus 14x plus 49. If we look at example 3, it's a little bit different because we have that coefficient in front of x, but we're still going to use the same table. Since it's a binomial, I'm going to create a 2 by 2 table, and I'm going to have 3x plus 1. On the side, I'm going to have x, and I'm going to have minus 6. Well, 3x and x give me 3x squared. 1 times x gives me 1x. 3x times negative 6 is negative 18x, and 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. So again, now we need to combine like terms, which is our diagonal. Negative 18 and positive 1 give me a negative 17x. So now we can write our answer. We have 3x squared minus 17x minus 6. That is your final answer. We're in descending order on our exponents, and in this case, alphabetical order as well, but there's only one variable. The last one, again, we have squared, so I'm going to write it out twice. And please get in that habit of writing it out twice, because some of you are going to make the mistake of just distributing the 2, and we can't. We can only do that when it would be 5x squared or 3 squared. It cannot be when there's an addition sign or a subtraction sign in the parentheses. So now I'm going to make my box. I have 5x, positive 3, 5x, and positive 3. Well, 5x and 5x multiply to give me 25x squared. 3 times 5x gives me 15x. 5x times 3 gives me 15x. And 3 times 3 gives me 9. I'm going to combine my like terms on my diagonal. 15x and 15x give me 30x. So my final answer is going to become 25x squared plus 30x plus 9. The nice thing about using FOIL or the table, if you're comfortable with both of them, you can use both interchangeably, and you'll still get the same answer in the end. So you can use one and check yourself with the other. Make sure you choose a method, though. If you're struggling with both of them and you just need a little more practice, pick one method to practice. Don't try practicing both because you're just going to overwhelm yourself. So pick the method that you would like to do. Hopefully, one of these two methods work well for you. If not, please come to class tomorrow with any questions in your foldable. I look forward to seeing you then.